Jojo, Joseph, if your old ass dropping out this race, you need to say that right now. You need to say that right now, because they on the news saying anything about, they didn't talk about your son. They done brought up kamikaze. They saying anything on the, and I don't do no he say, she say.
Breaking news. President Biden has just announced that he is ending his re-election bid. Just moments ago, the president tweeted out, "It has been the greatest honor of my life to serve as your president. And while it has been my intention to seek re-election, I believe it is in the best interest of my party and the country for me to stand down and to focus solely on fulfilling my duties as president for the remainder of my term. I will speak to the nation later this week in more detail about my decision."
Sling plant, I believe. Buddy about to get wet.
Hey, yo, Wavy. Yo, I hope y'all seeing whatever y'all doing. There's people out there trying to censor people, silence them, spread the disinformation and the fake news. It's not working. Now, how you gonna suppress this, huh? You can't stop it. All right, the truth is all coming out. Now, never mind a few weeks ago with the debate that has the left scrambling. All right, now they've been calling on Joe Biden to exit the race for some time now. Even Nancy Pelosi and other big names on the left were calling for President Biden to step down. You know, and then last week we had the attempt on former President Trump's life. And on July 22nd, we have the hearing for the director of the Secret Service, Kimberly Cheadle, where she'll be meeting and interrogated on what actually took place on that day. Now we have an official statement from President Biden where he is saying that he will pretty much not run for re-election. Now, I've never seen something like this in my lifetime, and I don't think anything like this has ever happened in history where a sitting president is choosing not to run for re-election. All right, now he's saying it's because of sicknesses. Now, remember, he had COVID a few weeks ago, so I guess he could have any disease, cognitive or physical or whatever it is, and they're just blaming it on COVID. So it is what it is. But this is going to be his official statement from him. I'm not going to get into the entire thing. I did want to touch on a couple quick things, you know, a couple quick lies where he talks about having the strongest economy in the world and rebuilding the nation, which if you've been here for the last 3 years, 3.5 years of his administration, this country's in a worse place than it was. He talks about bringing the country back from the pandemic and the worst economic struggle since the Great Depression, and now the country's economy is stronger than ever. And I don't get that. You know, I'm paying a lot more when I go places. Just the cost of living in general in everything is just up. So I don't see that. But if you speak to some Biden supporters, they'll tell you that this country has never been stronger. The economy has never been stronger, and they fully believe it. So it is what it is. Maybe I'm just going to the wrong places for information. Y'all let me know. At the end here, he does mention Vice President Harris, and he does thank her for the time she served during his administration. He doesn't actually nominate her here, so I'm wondering who will actually be the nominee, or who is he actually going to endorse? You know, is it going to be Kamala? Is it going to be a Hillary Clinton, a Michelle Obama, a Gavin Newsom?
We did it. We did it, Joe.
So President Biden, or whoever's running his account, tweeted this out at about 2:13 today. All right, my fellow Democrats, I've decided not to accept the nomination and to focus all my energies and duties as president for the remainder of my term. My very first decision as the party nominee in the 2020 was to pick Kamala Harris as the VP. Today, I want to offer my full support and endorsement for Kamala to be the nominee of our party this year. Democrats, it's time to come together and beat Trump. Let's do this. So there you have it. He is actually going to endorse Kamala Harris to be the nominee. Now, what happens at the DNC? Do they come up with something? Do they nominate someone else at that time? Who will run with Harris? Right now, based on what I think and have seen and read and stuff like that, I think what makes the most sense for the Democrat Party is to have Kamala Harris as the president and as Vice President Newsom. Now, would that be catastrophic for the country? I believe so. But I think that it does make a lot of sense for them because Newsom has popularity.
Even people who are pushing for this to happen, it's kind of like when your grandpa, you got to take the keys. And everybody, you got to take his keys, you got to take his keys. You got to, and he's fighting, and everybody's so frustrated. And then you finally get the keys back. And then you just cry. Because this is somebody that you love. This is somebody that you care about. This is somebody who was there for you. This is somebody, you wouldn't be here without him. And you had to take something from him. Now, this is not, look, this politics is politics.
Hey, yo, on the left, man, they don't know what they're doing. Some of them are blaming other Democrats for not stepping up to help Joe Biden. Some people want him out. Some people are blaming other Democrats, other white Democrats, black Democrats. Yo, they don't know what's going on in this party. This is the party that preaches unity and understanding, but it shows you that when it hits the fan, that they are all going to point the finger at one another. You know, all the clowns look like the Spider-Man meme.
I just know that I love this man. I care about this man. It was painful every day to sit up here and talk about him like he's just a, some problem for the party. Wait till we get to the convention. You're going to see people crying, standing, screaming, cheering. He may not get a chance to talk for 10 minutes when we finally get a chance to put our arm around this guy. You did the right thing for this country. You did the right thing for this party. All of us are going to be in this situation someday.
Van Jones confuses the hell out of me. All right, sometimes this guy will have you think that he's borderline conservative in his real life views. You know what I'm saying? But then other times when he does stuff like this and comes on the news is pretty much crying that not enough people in the Democratic Party supported Joe Biden. Yo, man, come on, Van. But he is right, because in the next coming days and weeks, we are going to see people on the internet posting themselves where they are losing their shit because President Biden has stepped down. Then others are going to be rejoicing over whoever the nominee turns out to be in the coming weeks. Then you had this clown almost immediately coming out with full support for VP Harris. Like, I thought you was for the last couple of months talking about how much everybody needs to rally behind President Biden. This guy didn't even protest for a day. He almost immediately lent his support to her.
Vice President Kamala Harris is the Democratic nominee for president, and I'm excited to vote for her.
Note that it is black and brown Democrats who are opposing this push out. I think there's one African-American Democrat who's for pushing Biden out. And note that it is consultants and non-people of color Democrats who are on the other side. Just an interesting thing to note. And the last thing I'll note is, where are the voters who are being asked about this, and also the people who would have the job of actually getting out this vote? They're not being asked. No one's asking them. Apparently the donors and the sort of elite Dems are just kind of doing their own thing. Weird time to be a Democrat.
Check out one of the plantation's loudest mammies over here, trying to get a race war going now within the Democrat Party. They don't know what they're doing, I'm telling you. And she stopped wearing the wigs, but that head is still, I don't know, it's probably the shape of her head or something like that. Look at them eyes. But they don't know what they want to do. They've had so much confusion. They've been calling Joe Biden moderate and too moderate for the last few years, that they want to progress and go more. How much is enough? Are we ready to see a race war? Forget the conservatives and the Republicans. Let them stay on one side. Let's see the race war between the Democratic Party play out. Shit, that's entertainment. What y'all think about President Biden not getting to the finish line? Now he's dropping out of the race officially. All right, who do you think will replace him? What do you think the ballot will look like as far as the president and the VP goes? This is a once-in-a-lifetime election run. This whole thing has been full of twists and turns. I don't expect anything different as we get to November. Is this something you didn't see coming? Because President Biden is full of strength, vigor. Okay, he has run the campaign as he's run his entire life. Okay, full of energy. This is a guy that has over 50 years of experience when it comes to being a politician, and he looks just as good now as he did, you know, on day one. And we're not sure where all of this Biden hate is all of a sudden coming from, when, you know, 6 weeks ago, everyone was in love with President Biden, and for all of the great work that he's been doing during the past 3.5 years. And even if you want to go back to the 8 years he served with President Obama. Or do you think this is something that if you had two eyes, you could have seen coming? All right, he falls everywhere. He falls up the stairs multiple times. He falls on the stages. He can't put together sentences. He stumbles and bumbles. I mean, I'm sure I do too, but hey, I'm sitting in a room with a camera by myself. You know what I'm saying? He's in front of people doing this. All right, big difference. All right, it's harder when you're in a room by yourself. But shout out to my creators. Just wanted to bring a little update to this because this is breaking news. All right, this is huge. Interested to know what y'all are thinking. All right, I could have seen this coming. Did I really think it was gonna happen? No. You know, I thought I was just blowing wind, but here we are. President Biden has officially said that he will not run for re-election and that he is fully endorsing Vice President Kamala Harris. Either way, interested to know whatever you're thinking. Till next video, stay wavy.
Plant, I believe. Buddy, about to get wet.